Um, some of my frustrations in regards to, say, the school system isn't particularly with the school system itself, but the lack of awareness, I guess, that students have. I can recall going through college and never once having any sort of knowledge about, if I were in some type of situation that involved sexual assault, what I could do. I think there's not enough awareness for students especially. We have laws, as you have mentioned here in the U.S., that entitle every student equal access to education without any barriers, and it is the responsibility of the schools, if they're federally funded, to provide that equal access. And if something has happened to a student, they shouldn't feel that they need to drop out of school because they don't want to endure that or go through it. It's the school's responsibility to make the accommodations for these students so that they can continue on with their education. It shouldn't be their fault, and they shouldn't feel punished to have to stop their education because they're not aware of it. So I think that there needs to be somehow more awareness on that aspect. And as far as the criminal justice system, my frustrations are the length of time I think that it takes for sexual assault victims to go through with things. So if their case were to even make it to trial, it's ridiculous how long it takes. I mean, at times it can take up to a year or two just to get to trial, and then some of the trials themselves can take 6 months, 12 months just to fully process. So not only is somebody reliving this trauma day after day and session after session throughout this trial, it's lengthy, so there's no time for healing. It shouldn't take as much time as it does. And the only other factor I think, well, probably not the only other, but one that I can think of, is my frustrations for how low conviction rates are. Out of maybe the 20% of cases of sexual assault that actually do get reported to the police, probably less than 10 of them actually go to trial. So the other 90% of that, only small portion, 20% of victims actually reporting, doesn't go to trial, and they don't receive any justice or have any knowledge. And those that do go through trial have to relive their own trauma, and they're usually not very informed throughout the process. They barely know what's going on. They don't even know if their attacker has been arrested until they're basically called into the DA's office and they tell them, hey, we're going to go to trial. And I think there's a lot of areas where things could be improved.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't have like a ton of knowledge on the justice system, but from a personal perspective, I've had a few incidents. I don't know why. I answered the question the way that I did it earlier in terms of not feeling threatened ever. Because as an adult, as like a 22-year-old, something happened with me where I was sexually assaulted, and there's like this, I feel like this immediate need to be like, well, the person tried to do it, and like I could fight him off because I was like big and strong enough, but it's still like a scary thing. And I sought a lawyer when that happened. It actually happened when I was in treatment for something related to trauma that I had been through when I was younger. And so, when I talked to the lawyer, who's a very competent lawyer, and he described what I had to go through in order to fight this, in order to win something, in order to do anything with this, it was really difficult. I mean, it was difficult. Like my parents had this perspective of like, why did we pay this hospital like all this money, and like, and it was just a lot of pressure from all over the place. But I decided not to do anything with it, even though, I felt like I could. The guy was very confident that we'd win, but he just, but every time he'd say, I'm confident that we'd win, he'd explain how long it was and how much would be involved in it. And it was really discouraging to know, that I was going to be up there, and that I was going to basically be called like a liar, and they were going to bring up my past and my other things that I'd been through in order to make it seem like I was kind of crazy already, and the person was in an authority position. So there was all sorts of scary stuff that happened with that. And yeah, looking back on it, I don't I don't know if I made the right decision or not, but I'm happy with the decision we chose.